What's up, guys? I hope everybody's having a great day. My name is Michael, and today I'm going to show you guys one of the easiest strategies that I've been using to make money within crypto and how I've made over $50,000 with launchpad IDOs so far. Now, obviously, when you do invest in crypto, there's a lot of different strategies, tactics, game plans that you can stick to try and make money. Some of them work better than others. None of them are perfect. But for me, so far using the Launchpad IDOs, it's been one of the easiest and most profitable ways to do it. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly the strategy that I've been applying. But before I do get started, a quick disclaimer. This is obviously not financial advice. It's just my personal opinion. It's the strategy that I've been using that it's been working for me. Nothing that we do comes without risk. So if you ever do decide to put money into something yourself, make sure you've done enough research beforehand that you kind of know what you're getting yourself involved in, and never invest money that you're not willing to lose. So as for me, I always make sure I have a game plan with everything I do. I always make sure that before I do put my money into something, I've done enough research beforehand so I'm comfortable with putting that money into it. Right? The strategies that I use is first of all holding. Obviously, that's the most common, well-known strategy that people do apply. It just means find a project, find a campaign, find a company or a coin that you believe in, put the money in, and whether the market is going up or down, you just stick with it over a couple of months, couple of years, for however long you believe that there's growth and potential left within that company, you just stick with it. Right? It's been proven to be one of the most successful ways to make money within crypto, but also within stock trading. Secondly, you have trading, which usually like day trading. It just means it's a shorter term trade. I don't really do this very often. Every once in a while, when I do see a good opportunity, I might get into it. I did one over the weekend with Sin City, which is like a crypto game. I put in $6,000. I saw a good entry point. 3 hours later, it went up close to 50%. So I got out close to $9,000. And that was it. So I made $3,000 in profit. I don't look back to the company, to the campaign. That's it. You take your money out, and that's it. But again, not something that I do very often. Thirdly, you have sniping. Well, that's more of a joke. That's more of a gambling thing to do. It just means when a coin launches to the public for the very first time, you try and get in as fast as possible, as cheap as possible, and then within a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, sometimes you get out and you just hope you make money. But again, that's definitely not something I would recommend to anybody, especially not with money that you're not willing to lose, because it's pure gambling. Then the main things that I focus on within my portfolio are the NFTs and the IDOs. If you look at my portfolio, NFTs are a pretty big portion of it right now. I hold a couple of NFTs that I believe are a good long-term investment, and I have a couple that I kind of flip within a couple of days or a week or two if I know that there's more utility being added to that NFT, or they might come up with some news as a project to the public that would increase the value. I get in beforehand and I get out with a decent amount of profit. And then lastly, the IDOs, which is what we're getting into today. So what is an IDO? It's an initial DEX offering. It just kind of means that it's a way of investing for retail investors. And retail investors, that's us, the general public, the individuals that invest into crypto. So when a project launches on an exchange, when it becomes available to the public, there's a certain price attached to it per coin. When people start investing, obviously the price goes up. So with the launch pads, with the IDOs, you're able to invest in it before everybody else does at a cheaper rate. What does that mean? You're able to put in a certain amount of money at a certain price. When it then later on becomes available to the public, the price goes up and you're straight away in profit from the beginning on already. What do I look for when I find a launchpad that I want to use, or when I find projects that I want to invest in? Is first of all, what is your initial investment and the tier system? So what you need to do is put money into that launchpad itself, buy that token and hold that token for you to be able to participate in the IDOs. How much money does that need to be, and how much allocation are you getting for that initial investment, which is something I'm going to get into in this video. Secondly, the staking period. So you need to hold the token from the launchpad usually for a certain period amount of time, because they want to have liquidity, they want to have money into their token, into their launchpad as well. So how long is that staking period for? How long is your money locked and you're not able to use that for something else? Because you need to make sure that you're not locking your money for too long, because if you do ever want to get out and you want to use it for something else and you can't, we are in a big problem. Thirdly, the allocation amount. So how much money are you actually able to invest into the project? Is it worth it? And then even more importantly, the amount of projects. So the amount of projects per week, for example. If your allocation per project is very low, but you have a very frequently amount of projects every single day to come up with a new one, well, if you then look at the results over a week, it might still be worth it even with a smaller allocation. And that all differs per different launchpad. Lastly, then the vesting is what I look for, is how much money that you've invested are you actually getting out straight away from the start. This is kind of decided by the project itself. So this is decided by the owners of the project. Sometimes they give 100% of what you've invested out straight away from the moment they launch to the public, or sometimes to prevent everybody from selling everything at the start, they might spread it out, and that's called your vesting. So the way I then approach this system, I guess, is I go to CoinMarketcap at the start. I don't know if everybody's familiar with CoinMarketcap, but it's just an easy tool to track your portfolio, to track all the coins that are on the market, to see what's been going on all around in the market. As everybody's probably aware, over the last couple of days, Bitcoin has gone down a lot. The whole crypto market has gone down a lot. If you look at what Bitcoin did over the weekend, there was a lot of panic going around, right? So if you look at the 7-day chart, you can see here on the 12th, let me see, on the 3rd, so that's 4 days back, it went down from $56,000 or 57 at the peak, all the way down to 47, right? That gives people panic. People are starting to become a little bit afraid of what's going to happen. What you can tell by that is that there's a lot of emotion involved. So that shows even more the importance of having a proper plan that you're sticking to. Why? Something I always say is it's logic over emotion. You never want to handle with emotion. You never want to make decisions irrational based on emotion. But if you have a proper game plan and you know what you're sticking with, then you're always going to make the logical decision, right? That was just on a side note. So for me to look at the IDOs, you have an ICO calendar, and then we want to look for the IDOs. You can tell that there's quite a lot of them going around. You can look at the calendar. You can see when there's a new one coming up. For me, what the easiest way to go by is you go to categories and then you find launchpads, and that's where you find all the different launchpads available. I think last time I checked it was around the 60-70 mark, or here's 76. So these are all the launchpads currently available. I've noticed not all of them are on here. The newer ones that are coming out aren't on here yet, but most of them are. So I'm gonna go through my top 3 launchpad that I'm using right now. If you have a launchpad that you're using that you think is working really well, if there's one that you've been making a lot of money with, let me know. I can look into it and see if I believe it's worth it. I've researched a lot of them. I've tried a lot of them. I got into a couple. I've got out of a couple. At the moment, the ones that I'm using are Seedify, Anypad as well. I think I saw it just before already. Here you go, Anypad. And then one of them, which you probably wouldn't have expected to make you a lot of money, but it's called MemePad, which only comes up with meme coins. What the guys done at MemePad is they open up a second launchpad, which is called Kingpad. They just opened it up a couple of days ago. It's gonna be a pad purely based on gaming, crypto gaming IDOs. If you look at the market that's going around right now, I believe that that's a very good decision. Why? Is because all the gaming cryptos are going up quite a lot. So let's start with Seedify. If you would have asked me like 2 or 3 weeks ago about Seedify, I probably would have said, I was considering to take my money out and to not participate in the Seedify anymore. But as of like 1.5 weeks ago, they've really upped their game on the amount of projects that they're coming up with, which to me makes it worth it again. So what we look at it is this. This is Seedify. Here you see the featured pool because this one is going on right now. And then you have the upcoming pools. So this one, Last Survivor, will be tomorrow in 22 hours from now. But you look at the total calendar, you can tell that they're coming up with a lot of different projects. Couple of them that have been here already: Attack Wagon, Spin Top, Age of Tanks. They've been in the last couple of days. And the ones I'm gonna go through with you is Gaia, Cryo War, and Good Games Guild. Now it's very simple. You look at, for example, Gaia, which is the first one I've ever done. And you can tell here the token price is $1 for 6.25 Gaia. If you look at the actual current rate of Gaia, you can see the amount of profit that you've made. So pretty simple. Gaia currently sells at 71 cents per coin. Well, let's grab a calculator for you. If you have $1 and you get 6.25 tokens back for it, obviously we know that it's 16 cents per token, which means right now at 71 cents, that's a pretty decent gain already. Also, Gaia has had a big hit over the weekend, just like everybody else had. It's traded at a peak of, here you can tell, 1.30. So it's gotten close to the 10x mark already, meaning if you participated in the Gaia IDO, you've been able to 10x your profit, or close to 10x your profit at the peak. Now with the allocation, whenever it comes up, there's a button here that you approve the token and then you put the money in. As for the allocation, I was able to put in $30. So it doesn't really sound like that much. But again, if you have a different campaign every single day over the week with different campaigns, the profit starts to add up. So what we look for is staking, right? We look at how much money do we need to stake and how long do we do it for to be able to participate in Seedify the IDOs. So you look at the tier system, which is how many tokens do you need to stake, how many tokens do you need to put in to get a certain amount of allocation out. Here we go. For me, I'm currently only sitting in tier 2. So I've staked 1,000 S-Fund. I got in at a really early stage, luckily, so I didn't have to pay that much to get to tier 2. But you look at the current rate, it's $14.88. So with 1,000 tokens, you have to pay close to $15,000 to get to a tier 2 stage. Still quite a lot of money for your initial investment, right? And it only gives you a tier 2, so a pretty low allocation. They have private rounds, so private sale rounds, meaning that you're able to invest in a private round even before the IDO comes up, so at an even cheaper rate. That becomes possible from tier 6, which means that if you want to participate in the private rounds, you would need $150,000 staked in Seedify to do so. Is that worth it or not? I'm not sure. You do really get a higher allocation compared to the other tiers. So if I would ever have another $150,000 set aside that I'm not really using, I would definitely consider getting into a tier 6 stage. But as for now, I'm only in tier 2. So the allocation I get is roughly $20 to $30 per project. Within a tier 6, you get roughly $1,200 in allocation. If you do a 10x on a $1,200 allocation, you can imagine how much, it starts to add up how much profit you're getting. As for the staking, that means for me right now, I have to set aside $15,000 staked into the Seedify platform. I have it staked for 30 days. You get an APY rate, so you do gain interest on it as well. You get a couple of more S-Fund tokens back from it at the end of it. I've been staking it now 14 days so far. So what we know is you need to stake roughly $15,000 to get a $20 to $30 allocation per project. The amount of time that you stake, it's only from 7 days up to 60 days, depending on how comfortable you with locking it in and how much APY, so how much interest rate you would like, of course. Now, to me, since what I said before, they come up with so many different campaigns, I honestly believe that it's a very good decision to be in Seedify right now. And if I would make a couple of good trades here and there, and I have another $100,000 or $150,000 left set aside, I would consider getting into a higher tier. Now look at a couple of results. We already got Gaia, but let's also open up Cryo War. And we'll go into Good Games Guild. You can see Cryo War is here at $2, or let's say $3. When I first got into Cryo War, it was valued at a very low rate. Hit $1, you got 35.71 Cryo War tokens back for it, right? At a $2 rate, that's close to 100x already. And if I believe, I only got a $19 allocation with Cryo War, but it is worth over $1,700 right now, which is an awesome IDO to participate in. Then you look at Good Games Guild. Same story, similar story, right? Good Games Guild valued at $8. It's gone up a lot today. I believe that it also bounced back a little bit from the dip. Here you go. You see it dipped a little bit. But overall, Good Games Guild has been doing really well. It's been performing really well. Valued at $8 with Good Games Guild. Here we go. One token, one BUSD, you got 3.3 Good Games Guild. So that one was valued at a little bit more, but still, right now at $8.27, that is a massive gain. You can tell by the total. Oh, it's peaked at $16 even. So it's gone down 50% from its peak already. Awesome trade. So that is Seedify. If we look at the total package of Seedify, definitely worth it in my opinion right now. And again, I would up my stake if I have another $150,000 set aside and available. Then we look at the second one, which is Anypad, right? Anypad has a bit of a different system, a little bit of a different image to it. Something really cool that they come up with over the last couple of weeks is they made available a couple of NFTs. So you're able to buy their NFTs to get a higher allocation. And I actually bought 2 of their NFTs, and the amount of allocation I'm now getting in Anypad is the best so far. So the best amount of allocation so far. So first thing we're gonna do is look at the allocation. Why not? Here you go. So you have the public sales and you have the private sales. To participate in the private sales, you need to have a minimum of 10,000 Anypad tokens. Then you fill out the form for the whitelist, you get whitelisted, you're able to participate in the private sales. These private sales are the sales where you get in even before the IDOs at a very low rate. Now the more important thing that we want to look at is, let's see if we can find it, Anypad tier system. Because Anypad is still very cheap, it's easier to get higher allocation, or at least to get in a higher tier system, which then gives you a higher allocation. Let's see, here we go. We look at a current rate of Anypad, it's only 6 cents, 6.7 cents, right? I have the highest tier system, so I hold 100,000 Anypad tokens, which only cost me $6,000. So for $6,000 only, you have the highest tier system, right? And that even gives you the opportunity to participate in the private pools and the public pools. Now, depending on your budget, depending on how much money you have available, I always make sure the amount of money locked into the launchpads is not more than 30% of my total portfolio. I like to move around with money a lot. I like to make sure that my money stays on top of, moving around from one place to another. So I make sure that it's not more than 30% of my total portfolio. For me, putting in $6,000 makes total sense, but it depends on how much money you have available, what your budget is like. Now we go back to the website. We go back to the actual launchpad. I will give you an example of, for example, Solchix. Solchix comes up next week on the 13th of December, on Monday, the IDO. Because I bought in the NFTs as well, I'm getting a $315 allocation in Solchix. Now we looked at Seedify before. You get $20 to $30 allocation by locking in $15,000. Now I only need to put in $6,000 and I get a $315 allocation, right? If let's hope Solchik does as well as all the campaigns that did on Seedify, the Cryo War, the Good Games Guild. If it does towards a 50x or 100x, you can imagine how much money you're actually making. But that was a public sale. Now you have the private pools. The Persia DAO is one that's going on right now, so I filled out the whitelist form. Nomadland has just closed that whitelist. I didn't participate in it. Somebody that I know did. Colin that I'm here in the office with, he did. He got a $815 allocation into the private pool, right? If that goes up to a 50x or 100x, you earning all the money put into that campaign or into the launchpad itself, you're earning it back straight away from only one IDO, from only one trade. So to me, Anypad currently right now is the best one to go for, is the best one to deal with. We look at the NFT marketplace from Anypad. They only cost me 2 BNB to buy. So you have the Sidus now. Hold up. You have here, let's see, my NFTs. It only cost me two BNB to buy the NFT. Within a couple of seconds, they were selling at around 5 to 6 BNB. People were really desperate to get those NFTs. Why? Is because purely it's giving you a higher allocation within the IDOs. So here we go. You can see it is called Anypad uCloud and Anypad Wealth. Let's go for. I've had an offer from 0.07. There's quite a lot of them available on the market. People are selling them consistently, so you're able to get one here. You can see price has gone down. People are selling it for a lot less now, so people are selling it for 2 to 2.5 BNB, and there's been 2 sales yesterday. There's been 2 sales 6 days ago, so they're not selling too much. You're probably able to scoop one on the marketplace pretty easily for around 2 to 2.5 BNB. So now we know that Anypad only needs $6,000 in allocation. You don't actually have to lock it with Anypad as well. So there's no locking period. There's no staking period. You're able to buy NFTs for $1,200 to $1,500 that are going to give you a higher allocation. And they come up with a fairly decent amount of projects as well. All right, so now we have Seedify, we have Anypad. Lastly, we look at Memepad. Kind of sounds like a joke. It started up as a joke as well. Never really realized or never really expected it to turn out this good. But for me, Memepad has been the most profitable launchpad of all. Unfortunately, you do need to stake it for, or did need to stake it for a longer period of time. So I couldn't benefit from the gain that the coin actually made because it went back down, as you can tell, a lot. Now for me, Memepad was worth it up until last week. Right now, they're in a little bit of a rough water. I hope that they're gonna fix whatever is going on and they come up with more projects again, because then I'll definitely continue using Memepad. So they opened up Kingpad. So they opened up the launchpad only based on crypto gaming IDOs. And since they've done that, you can tell that the Memepad has gotten a little bit less attention. So it needs a little bit of love again with the type of projects they come up with. The last couple of projects they came with, the last IDOs, didn't perform very well. And there are not that many projects coming up. So with Memepad, the previous staking system was that I had to stake it up until the 1st of December. I started roughly in mid-October, so I had to stake it for 6 weeks. But I had a very high APY rate. My average APY rate was at around 200%. Right now, they changed their staking system, so you don't have to lock it for a certain period of time. You do stake it, but there's no vesting period, so you can unlock it. You can take it out whenever you want to. As for the projects, we will go through a couple. You can see that there's only two coming up right now, but these have been here for a very, very long time, and there's no news on when they're actually launching these campaigns. So when it comes down to the upcoming projects, they're not really doing that well on MemePad. Completed launches, these are the ones that have been. I'm not going to go through all of them, of course, but Shiba Galaxy, Empire Warriors, Game of Loves, and Toreko all didn't really perform very well. And I believe that that's why you can tell people started losing their belief within MemeBet, and it's gone down a lot. Now, the previous campaigns before that, they did amazing. They did really well. You have Tribe, you have Meme Wars, and Girl Story. They all made me a lot of money. Meme Wars gave me over 100x. I think it was 140x. So I was able to put in 0.1 BNB. At that time, it was around $60 worth. At the highest point, Meme Wars, the $60 allocation that I had was worth $3,600, which is crazy, right? I believe it's gone down a little bit right now. It's at around $1,800, so $2,000, roughly like that. But it does mean that it shows that even though it's a MemePad launch, it's still able to make you a lot of money if you choose the right campaigns. Now, again, they need to change a couple of things. The guy that's running it is called Eclipse. He's a very good businessman, I believe. If I look at all the things that he's doing, he's very clever and very smart with his approach to the crypto space. So I hope that he's going to come up with something good on MemeBet. Couple of days back, they opened up Kingpad. So if you can tell, Kingpad is valued right now at $5. They opened up at 7 cents, and they opened up on, when was it? The 3rd of December. So in only 7 days, it's gone from 7 cents to $5. What it says here, this is not correct. It's opened up at $7, 7 cents, but it went up to $7 very, very quick. So at the highest point, it went up to $7. The allocation or the tier system on Kingpad is very low. You're able to get the highest allocation at a very low rate. Here you can tell you only need 1,500 crown tokens to get the highest allocation. Right now, a little bit too expensive for me because it's valued at $5. So you still need to put in a little bit too much. It's $7,500, but still, they haven't had a project yet. They haven't proven themselves yet. And their staking period is 3 months. So you need to stake it for 3 months to participate. To me, that's not worth it. To me, that's too long of a period to lock in the money that I maybe want to use for something else. I did buy in at the start straight away. I tried to get in as cheap and as fast as possible. So I had 500 tokens. I bought it in at like 80 cents per token. So I got a good deal. I sold 250. So I sold half of them at roughly around $5 as well. Took my profit, and I'm still holding the 250. I haven't staked them yet. I'm not sure whether I will or not. That kind of depends on the projects that they're going to come up with. Are they going to prove themselves? Yes or no. Here you can tell I haven't staked it yet. If they come up with a couple of projects and they perform really well, I might stake it because 250 tokens is not really valued at that much anyway. So I can lock that in for 3 months without any problems. But again, they haven't proven themselves yet. So I don't see the point in locking in $700 and $7,500 without really knowing whether that's going to work out or not. So these are the 3, potentially 4 launchpads that are working out for me right now, that are making me money right now. I've put in a lot of time, a lot of effort at the beginning to trying to figure out which ones work and which ones don't work. And I kind of know what to look out for. Now, if you ever do decide to put money into launchpads and into IDOs, make sure that you know whether it's going to be worth it or not from the start. A lot of these launchpads, kind of show their successes, they show their wins, they show their successful campaigns. But there's also campaigns, there's always IDOs and projects that fail. They just don't really show you that. So you need to make sure beforehand that you kind of know whether it's going to be a good decision to put that money in there, yes or no. And you need to be willing to lose that money, because it's never a guarantee that it's going to work out. But if you do have a launchpad that I haven't ran over, or if you have a launchpad that's working out for you, please do let me know. I'll be very happy to look at it. Also, if you have any questions about the IDOs, about the launchpad, or about anything else, feel free to ask, feel free to let me know. As of tomorrow, we're getting started with the weekly giveaway. So as of tomorrow, you can participate to win $100 every single week. Again, I will let you guys know in the next video. If you're excited to know more, if you're excited to participate in this weekly challenge, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you get notified when this video comes up online. And then I'll see you guys in the next video.